I'm Mitchell Levy, global credibility expert, and we are at one of my most favorite times of the day, and that is when I get to talk to an amazing human about who they are, what they do. Essentially, they get to talk about their values, and I love doing this, and we are in store for a treat. I've got Peter Strople with me, and Peter is absolutely one of the most amazing humans on the planet. Peter, I'm thanks for joining me.
Anytime, Mitchell. You know that. So
Well, I appreciate that, but the audience doesn't know that yet, and they don't know you yet. And I know what I've been doing on these shows is I haven't been reading bios, and because we're more than just what's written on a piece of paper. So I'd like to say, Peter, hi, who are you?
man, I'm a what I call a good friend. Uh, you take everything, every experience you've had in life, every business, every title you've ever had, and you could apply it to a moment. And I believe in instant change. I believe in being the best you can be in a second. And everything I am is there at this moment to help my friends to do the best they can be and do the things that are most significant to our world. So that's what I do.
Dude, I absolutely love that. How did you, just so we could learn a little bit more about you, um, let's do the personal stuff first, and then we'll do the business stuff. Like, tell me a little bit more about you, because obviously this is a different location. I'm not using Garen for as my producer, and it looks like you're in a golf cart. So let's talk about that.
No, that Kelly and I, when we're traveling, especially with COVID, we wanted to get away from the communities and where there's a lot of people, and we love golf, and being on a golf resort, that's the greatest way for us to spend time together. And she's an amazing golfer, so I don't mind getting spanked a little bit because of that. But people you meet are just more real, and it's fun. And so it's we're in a good position in our lives where we can focus on the needs of our friends and at a moment. And I think that's what I love most about our lives, is that as our friends are going through life and doing things that we think are going to make a difference, and we can help them validate or invalidate assumptions around what they can do today. And is there something that they could do, and somebody they could meet or could help them do make an impact this afternoon? And that was it. And I don't think we don't think about in terms of months anymore. If it's everything really is moment by moment, and if we can do something in this hour to change the way somebody describes something and the way that they are focusing on something, and get the right people around them and find the right customer, that's where the impact is, and that's what we want to do. So that's what we do. So
I love that. By the way, just for those that are listening and watching, Peter is, when I say the word servant leader, I actually, Peter Strople's name comes and picture comes into mind. He is of service to others. He's an amazing human. One of the things that I've been actively participating in is a weekly networking group, and it is affectionately called FOP, or Friends of Peter, and we end up with some great. The focus for I'll tell you, for me, what I get out of it is, a to be able to see authentically a group of amazing humans who have done good things in their life so far and still doing more. But B, we focus on topics they don't normally focus on, and I need to think about them through my lens, and then I get to share it publicly. And more importantly, so A, constructing an opinion on a particular word or idea or structure, but more appropriately is hearing these opinions and thoughts of other people. And it is just so amazingly cool. Peter, could you share a little bit more about what got you to where you are now?
sure. You know, well, it was a life changing experience. I had a massive heart attack in 2003, and I was playing golf at a resort, and friends of mine, we've flown in with a private jet, and as um, I started to feel sick, I thought I'd eaten something and it was bad, and I realized, wow, I've got make myself throw up and get whatever's inside of me out. And when I did that, what the doctors told me, I was actually having a heart attack. And what I did is gave myself CPR, and I started to feel good. And it didn't take long, but it was a couple hours, and then I started not feel good again. And but what came out of this is that I ended up in a hospital room. I was life flighted, and it had a 11-hour heart attack. And most people don't have heart attacks at any level that that should have taken my life. And I woke up in a intensive care unit in a hospital that I'd never been to the community ever. I was the first life flight patient for that hospital. And the doctor was looking at me and said, "Hey, man, you look a lot better than you did last night." And I said, "Well, I didn't remember the night." And he said, "Yeah, when you came in, it was obviously pretty late, and we gave you last rites." And I said, "What do you mean last rites?" He said, "Yeah, we didn't think you were going to make it." And I said, "Wow." I said, "So what did you do to save me?" And he said, "Well, I'm going to tell you this. I don't think we did anything." He said, "There's some reason why you're here, and the truth is that I can't understand it. But he said, there's something special about your life." He even said, "I'm not a faith-based guy, but there's something special in regards to how you came through this." And I started to realize that time is finite, and you got a moment. You got today, and it's the people around you and the people you love is what matters. And in that second, you started to realize. And he was telling me that the future was going to be different. He said, "When I tell you to exercise, I mean smell the flowers, go look at the birds and bees, and you're just very lucky to be alive." And I started to realize in a moment, who am I hanging out with? Who are the people that I love? Am I with them? Are we talking about things that matter? Am I helping my friends do things that matter? Am I doing things based on ego? Are we, and everything changed for me. This literally is in a moment. I realized that what I do and who I hang out with is the most important, and the things we talk about. And I started to become a challenge to my friends, saying, "Listen, why are we in this meeting right now? Why are we talking about it? We're just ego based conversations, and what we're talking about is stuff that doesn't even really matter. Even it's not the most important thing. It's not going to change the world." And I would challenge my friends a little bit, even to the point where I would tell people, "Look, I don't want to be part of this meeting anymore." And I'd literally get up out of the meeting and say, "I'm sorry, guys. Today matters to me, and I'm gone." And they, "No, no, don't leave. Please don't leave." And no, look, we're going to have to change the conversation then, because I'm just telling you this is very important to me. Um, and again, it was an experience that said today matters. And that's the issue is most businesses and everything we're talking about, if you really ask the question, is it needed or is it wanted, and based on which time of the year and what's going on in the world, you're going to start seeing different stories in regards to things you're involved in. This call that we're involved right now with you, the reason I'm on this call is because I have a huge amount of respect for you, and the things you talk about are things that matter, and it makes people more human, and that's what I want. And I love the fact of getting away from ego, just talk about things that matter. Are we doing anything that matters? Or if it is, how do you describe that? How can you describe it in a way that makes a difference? And I know I'm alive because I get little bugs that are trying to fly into my ear here. So but anyway, I'm babbling, but that was it. And again, so instant change became a story for me. If I could do something today, even if we got an hour to talk, if I can do something to help you meet somebody, can I validate something, then kind of get something, go to the next level. And what I found is if I can put people together and just validate an idea very quickly, and somebody you dreamed about talking a conversation with, then in that moment you actually change the value of that deal completely, because now somebody else who's significant to that story is saying, "No, I validate what you're doing, and I validate you, and I want to be part of your story." And that's what Friends of Peter does, and that's what I love about the things we get involved in. So that's it. Yeah.
And crazy, crazy cool. I think too many people, Peter, focus on not just their wants, but their wants are artificially created by other people, and they're living the script that somebody else wrote.
Well, yeah, I still remember a conversation when, somebody was talking about needs and wants, and needs are finite, wants are infinite, right? And so when you put those together and you're asking anybody, it wouldn't matter at the time when I was, venture capitalist and I'm looking at businesses I want to help. I'm asking myself, is this needed? Is it wanted? Because again, depends on what's going on in the world. People see it's a different level of significance. But if it's needed, food, shelter, clothing type of things, then it should be something significant. When I shared that with a friend of mine who's from Harvard, and I said that needs are finite, wants are infinite, he said, "That's genius. Can I write that down?" And I said, "Sure, but I didn't create that." And he said, "Well, I believe that money, our time is finite, money is infinite." And so when you put that together in a kind of a box of four corners, you know, so if needs are finite, that means time is finite. So anything that's needed should be needed today. If it's needed today, then money should become infinite for that subject matter, whatever that issue is. It should be not an issue in regards to we're trying to sell something, trying to say that you're an expert in something. You're being validated as an expert, but if you're an expert, then you're the one who's going to help somebody deal with that need today, this moment. And because of that, you should be able to charge actually more for that. So that was
Mm.
a very, very basic thinking of life. The truth is, most people are dealing with things that are wanted. They're not really needed. And if it is needed, they can't describe it. And that's why they can't find customers, or the customers don't believe it, or the investors don't want to invest in it because they don't understand the need. It's not something that matters, you know. So you even just changing the way you market it changes the value of it to the point that you see customers, and obviously if you see a customer, then you can start seeing investors. So.
Dude, I want to re-listen to that piece because when you were speaking, I was hearing the standard marketing 2x2 that had such amazingly strong focus. So thank you for that visualization. I really appreciate it. The thing that I think about when I think about you is I'm gonna date us for those people who are the younger generation. I'm gonna use the word Rolodex. Rolodex used to be, I don't actually have one, but it used to be this card deck sitting on your desk where you actually had physical cards, and you would actually use it and roll to the place where you can actually see somebody's phone number and email and so on. So we often still use that word, and you've got the largest Rolodex that I know of any human. And how did that happen? How did you become this person where what are some of the things that transpired that just opened up the world for you?
I think one thing is, when you understand that people matter, and it's not even a. It's kind of interesting because I know that this is being shown on LinkedIn, and I was one of the first LinkedIn guys, and I didn't want to be connected to people that I didn't really know or people I didn't like, you know, and it took one person that was very significant in a business world said, "Peter, I want to invite you to be part of my LinkedIn, network," and I was just honored that he would say yes, that he offered that to me. And I've heard that before. There are people that they say they only have one connection, and it's me. I was like, really? Of all the people in your world, and in some cases, some of these are billionaires, and it's pretty funny. So I was just laughing by all this whole idea of social networking, and are you really connected? You've heard me say this before. B2B is, for me, is belly to belly. If you can't look into somebody's eyes, if you can't hug them, then you're not really in a relationship. And that's what I wanted, and I still use that same thing. Is that a lot of my relationships came because I was part of businesses that I was asked to either create a new area or fix something. And because of the relationships I was tying myself to are really significant people. These are people that were going to change or create something, either the customers or the people around the business, or in some cases save them and keep them more relevant to life. Because again, the last thing you want to do is let people go, when the truth is I believe that they were let down because the people that they reported to didn't really trust them. didn't allow them to do what they were designed to do. And, so I really like really smart people. And I know that I'm not the smartest guy in the world. And I love being around people that are really smart. And I love the fact that I can pick up the phone and call somebody that I think is an expert on something that makes other people look like, yeah, we thought we're experts. We're not, right? Well, guess what? I love that. And all I'm doing is validating assumptions around what we're talking about. If you claim to know something, then guess what? Are you the best at it? If you're not, then it's a team. It's other people around you that are going to help you make that even more significant. And what happens in social networks, I saw people were talking about themselves. Everything, look at me, look at me, look at me. And the truth, that's not us. It's about us. It's who's in your network. And it doesn't help you if you've got somebody in your phone when you call them. Who are you? Why are you calling me? Or worse, in social media, you're sending a link to somebody saying, "Hey, can I get some time with you? Who are you? Why do I even care?" That's disrespect. It means you don't really know people, right? And I didn't want that. And so as every time I was moved, and I moved 10 times, over 10 years, based on the businesses that I was involved in. And I'd always meet new people, but I started to meet mayors and governors and significant people and experts. And there was something in the way that we just created. I wasn't there. I was there to fix something. I was there to create something new, which is going to be good for everybody. And I was asking them for help. And I didn't know the right people to be talking to. So would you mind introducing me to people that you think would make a difference in this market? If you know somebody over there, then who's the right person? And the fact that they would give me their phone numbers is the thing that really got me. When I sent back, and today I've got about 13,000 names in my phone. These are people that I've met, that I've helped, that have helped me, that I can pick up the phone and say, "Look, hey, how's life?" And I love the fact when you haven't talked to somebody in 8 years, and you call somebody and say, "Hey, listen, hey, you're in Detroit. Hey, call this guy and tell him that I love him." They go, "What? Really? Yeah, but I haven't talked to him in a long time, but just please just call him. This guy is somebody special." And when they call him and say, "Wow, the guy said, how's Peter?" And what I loved is it wasn't just a conversation. They said, not only I'm going to have coffee with you, in some cases they invited them to their homes for dinner. It became a different conversation, and that's what I wanted. If there's any issue that we're dealing with in the world today, people don't have any real relationships. They think they have relationships or not. And certainly when it's crisis, they don't. And there isn't anybody there that's going to help them. And that's not what I want to be around. And I'd rather be around people that are real relationships. So, look, I don't know anything. I don't know what I can do to help you, but you're somebody special. This friend said that you're somebody I need to know. Guess what? It's good people getting to know good people, and that's what life is going to be. And it's more important now, based on what's happening in the world, that we have people around us that know us and we care about, that we can actually go to war with. So.
It's amazing. I want to, as I'm listening to you, I just wanted to showcase for the audience their 10 values of credibility, right? And just listening to Peter, under being trusting, he does show vulnerability. He is vulnerable. He does have external integrity, and also under being known the internal integrity. He's authentically him. And you may not see it in this call, but Peter is so amazingly coachable, because when his friends talk to him, he actually listens and takes actions. I'm going to go under being known. As I mentioned, he's probably one of the best servant leaders I know. He clearly, every time I've seen him, he has the intent and commitment to do the right thing. And what I could say, and this is what happens when you get to know somebody, and I'm going to say this is the secret of Peter, is when you get to see him and you experience him, he doesn't just have the external integrity, like how he shows up in the look and feel, but it's the internal side. And so you don't actually have to be in a room with him for a couple of years. And if somebody in Peter's network ends up calling you and says, by the way, secret handshake, Peter says he loves you. Somebody does that. The person on the other end is going to stop what they're doing and say, how can I help? And to be able to generate that, Peter, that by itself is such a amazing legacy. I'm proud to be able to say I even know you, so I can do that.
Wow. Again, you know, I've had 3 heart attacks and a stroke, and I've seen life, and I've seen what could be death. And you start realizing in a moment, when you're having to have a conversation with your maker, is this really real? Is this what this is? Life is going to. This is it. It's over. And then you start thinking about the things that you did probably done wrong. You think of the people that you probably, not handled the best way, you know. And there's, I still remember there was they did a study where they asked people that were medical professionals if they had a choice to die today instantaneously, or if they could die a slow, long death, which would they rather have? And it was a great question. And what blew me away is most of the medical professionals said they'd rather have the long, lingering, painful death. And I was like, why? Because a heart attack's instantaneously. It's gone. I mean, you're done, right? But long, slow means that you've got to say thank you to the people that you love who helped you get to where you were in that position. To be able to say I'm sorry 1,000 times to people you let down, and tell the people that you love how much you love them, and do whatever you can to help them on the right track, and make sure that they know what you would have done if they had more time in regards to helping them get to the next level, who they should know. Please call this person, even though I can't be able to do that anymore, please call them and tell them I love them, right? It's just something that's just life, you know and I love that. It's just we got to slow down. And you said something about the listening is a really big deal. It's a big deal for me. And because I don't want people to think I'm not listening, even though I'm the guy that looks like I don't listen, right? I don't make notes, but I pick up the phone and start dialing, or look like I'm going through my phone when I'm talking to somebody, and they're like, so people tell people when you meet Peter, get ready. He's going to pick up his phone. He's going to probably, be looking like he's dialing. He might even dial somebody right now while you're talking. It's not rude. It actually means you've got his attention. He wants somebody else to be part of that conversation because you said something that matters. And that's the stuff that I love, is the fact that and my life now is about no to-dos. When I meet somebody, I don't want to know that I owe you something. This moment is going to be everything. And that's why I don't mind giving you the phone numbers. I don't mind picking up the phone and call the person right now, because if that's going to help speed things up for you, I will do that every moment, because I may not be there the next hour. And that's the significance of what my life has become. So.
It's interesting. What was going through my head, Peter, is what's next, and for you, it might be a round of golf.
Yep.
So, how about what's next? And you could extend the horizon from a couple hours to a couple of days to a couple whatever horizon you think makes sense.
Well, it's I deal with health issues, which means you're limited to what your body can do, and I know I don't have forever, and I wish I did. I wish that I could think of me being 100 years old, but that'd be kind of silly. But so for me, is day by day, and um, I live my life in that way, and so like for me, I want to be more around things that really are going to change the world. That's why tomorrow we've got the chief prosecutor for The Hague, who's going to put Putin in jail. Is going to be friends of Peter, right? So it's just being around people that are changing this world, and it's stuff that you just don't even think is possible, And I love the fact that we're part of that thinking of relationships that help these types of things, get kind of be manifested. And I love the fact that I'm able to, Mitchell. I mean, from the moment I met you and know what you're doing in life, the fact that you decided you wanted to spend an extra Saturday, after you first heard about Friends of Peter, is just nothing more than is a blessing for me and for our friends. and you're so good as at least a listener, right? And that's what you want. You want to see when you see significant people listening and actually being, they're not even bragging about who they are. They're just there as a human. That's exactly what it is. That's what life is. And I never understood why people, when you say, "Who are you?" Well, I went to Harvard. Why is it the most important thing to your conversation? Why does it have anything to do with this? It's stupid. And and that's where I'm sitting back and saying, you and I can figure out in 4 seconds if somebody's real. And I've been around a lot of people, and the hardest thing for me in my business has been around people that when you meet other significant people that are okay with understanding that that's just Steven, right? It's not Steven Spielberg, right? You don't tell everybody about who you just met. It's Steven, right? And what Steven's doing is Steven's business, but it's stuff that he's trusting us with, right? That's the stuff that got me really amazed. The people I was meeting, you read about, I can't believe I'm meeting them. They're asking for help. And yet these are people who can write checks for the big, it doesn't matter. They're trusting us. They're trusting me in that conversation. And it's the hardest thing for me as you build teams where somebody will say, "Guess who I met with today?" And they're trying to share their story, and it's not that it's not trust.
Hmm.
There's a time and a place, and it's not every day. But I love the fact that I get to meet people that are significant for whatever time we're spending time together. I'm introducing them to my friends, and my friends may not be known, but all of a sudden they could be. Because they may be that expert that they need to be talking to. And the bottom line is that create a relationship, put them in your phone, and call them every once in a while. Put them on your Christmas card list, you know, and say thank you for being in my life, man. And it changes people's value to life. It makes them more relevant. So, anyway,
Hmm.
a babble, a
Hey,
babble.
Peter, I'm gonna no. I'm loving the Peter babble. Um, the I'll say right now, thank you for being in my life. I so honor and appreciate you. I I think I mentioned to you up front that I don't really have an agenda on the call other than to listen to you and hear you, and to let it go based on the organic nature of deep listening and moving forward. That said, I'm curious, is there a question that you think I could have asked you or should have asked you, or that you'd like to be asked that I haven't asked yet?
Um, I don't know. It's not so much me. I think there's questions we need to ask ourselves, right? And I'm sitting here thinking you're going to be going off to a foreign land, and that land actually, I think there's 5 radio stations that have Texas music, right? So they love Texas. They believe in that power of, of what people can do, and a lot of people live through the movies, and where they believe, a Texas mindset is, you know, and I just love the fact that my friends are going global, and you're sitting back and you can have conversations and ask, what do you need? What can we do? What's your perception of us? What's as Americans? Are we arrogant, or is there something that we should be doing? And do you care about us? Is there something that we need to do that makes us better for you? And if there's anything we could do to help you, what would that be? You know, if there's one thing I could do to help you today, what would that be? And that's the power of what I think, you know, Friends of Peter, and what a global
Hmm.
village, really is. It's not you sitting there telling everybody about who you are and what you've done, and why you have the right and how you've got had the ability to be able to spend, time in a foreign land that's not cheap, you know, but you're not just there for you. It's there for you to help. And like I said, I'm always blown away. Perception is the number one issue we all deal with, right? And if you sit back and say, listen, what's your perception of me as America? And am I doing good? Is there something we can do better? But more importantly, who do you want to be? And is there something I can do to help you be that? And that listening is different. again, it's not listening to just the things that you think you need to hear and tell people that makes you relevant. You're not relevant at all, you know. But you can be very quickly when you look at somebody and say, "Listen, this is not about me. Tell me about you." You know, if there's one thing you could do today, if you could wake up with $10 million in your bank account, what would you do with that? Right? That's the stuff I get excited about. And
Mm.
every day I wake up and thank you for being alive. You know, thank you for having an amazing woman, Kelly, in my life that I love more than anything, and friends in my life that I just think are geniuses and a lot smarter than me. And that's why I say thank you for allowing me to see you in public, right? Because I don't mind being seen in public with my friends because they're really rock stars. You know, Mitchell, thank you for being in my life and thank you for allowing me to be part of this conversation. You know, I'm serious. I mean, it's just that's it. And I'm very lucky that if this is all my life is, and if something happens to me in the next hour, I'm okay. You know, and I love you. You know,
Mm. Man, I love you too. Thank you.
yeah.
Wow. And by the way, I thank you for the question. As you're speaking, I'm like, yeah, that is the question. That is, as I'm meeting people in France, I'm going to ask that question. I'll have a report. I'm looking for the responses. I could imagine that being such a fun question and approach. So thank you.
Yeah.
And so I say, hey, listen, if people are so enthralled and they want to reach out in some way to you, Peter, what's the best way to go about doing that?
Just I would do this: reach out to you, reach out to Mitchell, and say, Mitchell, and you'll validate in a few seconds: are these good people? Are these people that you'd want to have in Peter's life? And if they are, then just have them call me and say, Peter's Mitchell says he loves you, and that I need to know you. And that's what a great statement. I think that's why I can get involved in a lot of things because my friends protect me. And I don't mind when somebody says, I've been waiting for 6, 7 years to meet somebody that's good enough to introduce to you, Peter. That's just this love. It means I don't
Mm.
everybody. I don't want any. I don't need any more people in my life, right? But I want good people, you know. And my favorite quote is, "I love you not for who you are, but for who I am when I'm with you," right?
Mm.
That question, and that's Rory Croft who did that quote, but it says, I'm a better person because I have you in my life, Mitchell, right? And that's it. I'm a better person because you call me your friend. It makes me special. And I'm telling you, I don't mind if everybody's a gatekeeper for their friends, and the last thing you want to do is because somebody's claim of who they think they are or some significance of their titles that's why I want to introduce somebody to somebody. It has nothing to do with that. Some of those people are the worst people to meet, right? So I'm just sitting back. My friends protect me. They introduce me to the people that matter, the people that they want to be around, and those are the people I want to help. And together we'll help make a difference.
Peter, it's so funny because as I was getting close to that question, I'm like, because you and I haven't talked about that ahead of time. And I'm thinking, God, how would I answer it if I coached Peter ahead of time, which we didn't? Well, how would I suggest he answer that? And I kind of came to the same words you came up with. And thank you for being symbiotic. And yes, I'd be honored, right? And I am honored. And thank you for your friendship, for your love. I so appreciate you. And so I want to say, if you're still here and you're still listening or watching, this is now time to spread some cred dust. This is time to write in the comment that you most appreciated. It's time to click on the like button. It's time to share with your friends. And I so look forward to seeing you at the next episode of Leaders Living Their Values. Take care, everyone. Take this love and joy that you're feeling from this conversation with Peter and bring this into your life. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye now.